Hello and welcome. My name is Roman Silver, and today we're going to be breaking down my song Waiting off my debut album. Let's get started. Alright, here we are. So I want to preface this by saying I have a new sample pack on Gumroad that actually has a lot of the samples that I used throughout my album, things that I've made, and yeah, it has like the drums from Waiting, and it has like a bunch of other sounds and cool stuff and loops, one shots, everything. It has a ton of stuff in there. So I will link that in the description. And yeah, let's get started. I think I'll start off actually with the master. So this master here, this is typically how a master chain of one of my songs looks like. I would say, with the exception of these cassette plugins here, I think I use these just for some added warmth. I think there was a quality to them that I felt was good. You definitely don't want to do this. I would advise against it. Sometimes it could be nice, but you want to be very careful because it can really change a lot of things and add some phasing issues. Especially, what's weird is like if you have this. Maybe I mixed this, I automated this, but if this is somewhere in between here, it'll cause some serious phasing issues. So just be careful with that. Um, this Butch Vig's thing here is just some added air on the high end. This Waves plugin I use on practically every master of mine. These two, the Waves API 2500 and Pro L. I will definitely use those on almost all my masters. And then what I tend to do here is I automate I automate this utility plugin so that it just creates some added like tension, and or not tension, but basically like when it's building, it'll lower the volume very slightly, only by dB, 1.5 dB. So that way when it kicks in, it'll hit harder. So that's kind of how I look at things. And also I do organize my tracks this way, where it's drums are in red, vocals are yellow, synths and instruments are blue, bass is pink, and effects is orange. That's how I like to do things. So we could start off with these drums here, and let's see. So very UKG kind of inspired drums. I mean, it's just a four on the floor drum loop that I kind of like place different things around. There's like this tops loop. There's another tops loop. A lot of like hats that I did some variation on velocity and whatnot. And there's a snare that's a clap snare that's kind of like layered. It's pretty nice. Some reverb on top of that. I believe, yeah, and then the kick, pretty pretty simple kick, but it's I wanted it to have like that really classic kick of like almost like a 909 kick, like really old school sounding. With all the drums here, I mean, it sounds very ravey and kind of old school. So that's kind of what I was going for. All right, so next up we got the vocals here, and I mean the vocals definitely make this song. It's a super catchy hook and just very pristine, beautiful vocal, and yeah, some effects and
Since 6 years old, brave as I recall,
I
talk
got these little vocal hits with some echo and whatnot. Just really adds some depth, kind of like in between when there's no phrase happening and you just hear the echo of the other vocal hit happening. I think that's really, really nice, and I tend to do that a lot. And yeah, so vocals are pretty straightforward. Um, I think I usually like do some heavy EQing. I'm not the best with vocals, but I usually do some heavy EQing. I think within each track I'll do even more EQ and more limiting and you know compression and whatnot. But like I said, I'm not the best vocals. Usually, I'll have someone else do the vocals, like mix the vocals, and then I'll at least like I really like to be the one doing all the effects and whatnot, adding reverb and delay. I'm pretty picky with that kind of stuff. So, but in terms of like mixing and like tuning and stuff like that, I think that it's always good to have someone else do that because I'm definitely not the best. I'm not the most versed on that sort of stuff, and especially like tracking vocals as well. So, um, yeah, and then so let's see. Let's go into these synths. I think we could start with the main. We can start with these chords here.
Been this way since 6 years old. Brave as I.
So I'm not sure if everyone knows this, but a lot of people do know this. That Diva is an amazing synth, first and foremost, but also the default Diva preset is insane, and so it's so lush and so nice. And I think this was the default preset, so just opened up Diva. Obviously, like there's things I changed and like I automated a lot of stuff, but this it started off as just the default Diva preset, and I added my own touch to it. Added some RC20, Valhalla Vintage Verb, Saturn. Just beefed it up a little bit, but for the most part, it's that default preset, which is just so nice. And with these chords, it just sounded really nice.
Talking fast.
And then there's just like a bass layer underneath that.
Now you've been too much.
If you don't have Diva, get Diva. Next up, we got the pluck here. So this is really what drives the track, If you do have Diva and you want to copy these for this preset, you can do that. A lot of automation going on here. So as the song kind of builds up, I will like open up the cutoff and then I will also send it to like here you can see I send it to these bus channels, and that way the echo kind of comes in and then it'll continue going. So it'll the echo will come in more, and then it'll just keep on going throughout this and just kind of like provides some space in the track and just really makes things sound full and yeah. Just automating different things like this vibrato here, just like little things that you automate, I feel like really adds a human element, and that is just really cool. That really makes your music stand out, giving things a human element, whether it's automation or sliding things off the grid, giving it some groove, using this Ableton Groove Pool here. I've been doing that a lot more, which I didn't used to do, but now I do, especially with drums, just, especially on 4 tracks, house music, just slightly shifting things will just give things so much more groove and so much more bounce. So definitely take that into consideration. And yeah, so this is just two different layers. So here's that one, and there's this one. So if you want, you can copy those. Feel free and make a nice trance lead if you guys are into trance. I mean, it's kind of trancey. This song is definitely in that vein. I didn't want to, piss anybody off by saying this is trance music, but it's definitely in that vein. It's it's got that trance lead and style, I guess. And then the bass here just layered underneath it was actually like kind of an offbeat bass. Also, I think okay, so I made this one in Serum here. Pretty simple, I'm sure. Yeah. go. That is the lead for Waiting. And yeah, and then everything else is pretty much just some filler stuff. We got all these effects and some white noise. A lot of times, what I'll do is I'll add really subtle. You see, this is minus 35 dB, and really subtle, but it just fills things out. You know, you can always do that with like Serum or something, and add some white noise on top of maybe a sound. I'm sure that's a big thing in sound design as well. So, but sometimes I get lazy. I just want to use a sample, so just grab a sample, put it on top, and it just fills everything out. So yeah, I really like this fill here. So yeah, I mean everything together, I think you had a winner. I really this song actually started off as a really slow song, and then I kind of just flipped it one day, and I was like, okay, that's it, and that's sometimes what it's all about. If you're really stuck on a song, maybe you just ought to just flip it. Maybe export all the stems out and try remixing it, or change the BPM to something really drastic, and see what can come of it. And this song, after I changed it, I literally finished it in a few days, and I was like, okay, it's done, and ended up being one of the singles off my album. So really happy with it, and I will probably make more like this. So hope you guys enjoyed that. That is a breakdown of my song Waiting. I'll probably do more. If you guys want to hear more breakdowns, see more of my production process, let me know in the comments. And yeah, hope you enjoyed this. Thanks, guys.